Hello, scholars. My name is Joseph Ejike Oji. In the previous lecture, in this course, I explained the capital asset pricing model. And one of the variables we use in the formula for the capital asset pricing model is the beta. So I will explain in this lecture. As a matter of fact, this lecture will cover how to estimate the beta of a stock. How do you estimate that beta? Remember that beta of an individual stock gives us an approximation of how much risk that stock is, especially when it is added to a diversified portfolio. So, in other words, it is a measure of risk. Now, like I said a few minutes ago, in this lecture, I will show you how to estimate beta. First of all, let me make sure that you are seeing my screen properly. Okay, I believe you are seeing it. All right, the beta of a stock, I, denoted by beta, BI, is calculated using this formula here. BI equals to delta I over delta M times rho IM. Now, all these things might sound like, gibberish to you, but actually, I'm going to break it down so that you understand what they mean. Delta I is the symbol that we use to represent the standard deviation of the stock return. So you find the stock return and define the standard deviation of that return. That will give you the delta I. Delta M represent the standard deviation of the market return. For the market return, you can use S&P 500 or any of the market indexes, depending on the type of stock. I can show you some of the market indices. There are many of them that we use. Let me go to finance.yahoo. You'll see the S&P 500. Make sure you're seeing this. Yeah, the S&P 500 is a good example of market return and of market index. Dow Jones Industrial, Dow 30, and NASDAQ. We also have Russell 2000, and so on and so forth. So that's one is the market index is represented by delta M, and the correlation between the stock return and the market return is rho IM, as I is for the stock return, and then M is the market return. So sometimes in most questions you meet in finance, some of these values will be given to you. So all you have to do is to plug them into the formula and use them to calculate your beta. If they are not given to you, you can get the prices of the stocks. Download the prices from Yahoo Finance, then download the prices of the market index that you need to use. Use those two to calculate the return for the stock and for the market, and use those returns to also calculate the correlation between the stock and the market return. Then plug them into the formula, you get the answer as well. Remember that the average of all stock betas is equal to 1, because the market, is beta is 1, since the market return is the average of the stock's returns. You can also use spreadsheets to calculate the delta I, delta M, and rho IM, like I stated a few minutes ago. Now, you can equally calculate beta using Excel, and that one is even the easiest to do. So let's look at example how you can apply this formula. Okay. But before then, I think I mentioned it already. You can also calculate beta using Excel. In this case, we use the slope of the regression line of the stock returns as the beta for the stock. So in other words, to find the beta of a stock or to estimate it using Excel, you estimate you download the the stock prices for that stock in the market and the prices for the index, and then calculate the returns on those prices. Then find the slope using this Excel commands equals slope, known y's and known x's, where the known y's are the return on that stock and known x's are the return on the market index. So the answer that will come out from this will give you the beta of that stock. Let's try the two examples. We're going to try the first example using the formula method. I'll make sure you're seeing this. Yep. Using the formula method and then using the Excel methods. Let's try the one that involve using the formula method. You wrote here that an investor is looking to calculate the beta of an Apple. Of course, you know Apple that make Apple products like this cell phone. So this investor is looking to calculate the beta of Apple in 2021 as compared to the SPDR S&P 500 ETF trust, which is the a market index, which represents the market return. Now, assume that based on recent 5-year data, the correlation between Apple and the market index, which is SPY, is 0.83. And Apple has a standard deviation of returns of 23.42%, and SPY has a standard deviation of return of 32.21%. Calculate the beta of Apple Incorporated for this investor. Okay, let us put numbers down. This one here is the standard deviation of the return of Apple, which is 23.42%. So which, when you change it to decimal, become 0.2342. The standard deviation of the return of the market, which in this case the SPY, which represents the SPDR S&P 500 ETF, is the standard deviation of the return is, according to this question, is 32.21%, which is 0.3221 when changed to decimal. Then the correlation between the two returns for the market and for the Apple is 0.83. So that the beta for Apple Incorporated is equals, you plug it into this formula. Delta I by delta M times rho IM, which is delta I is this one here, delta M is this one here, then rho IM is this. So let's plug it in. So I have, I'm going to show you the calculation using a calculator. So you have delta I will have it there as, okay, give me 1 minute, let me look at it again. Those numbers, when you take away your eyes from the numbers, you will see the numbers again. All right, let's see. Okay, I'm taking a quick look. Okay, I got it. Okay, so I have the I is 0.2342. Okay, divided by 0.3221. Close this. The times the correlation, which is 0.83, say 0.603 is a beta. Can see that share? 0.603 is our beta. 0.603 approximately, I mean. So taking it back to this, you can see that's how we get the result as 0.603. Now, what does this mean? Excuse me. You see, this is, the market beta is 1, and this one is 0.603, which means that it is less risky or less volatile than the market. So Apple stock will be considered to be less risky or less volatile than the market, which is the SPY or the SPDR S&P 500 ETF trust. So I hope you you are having fun so far. Now I've shown you how to calculate it using formula that is given. Now let's see how you can calculate beta or estimate beta using Excel. Now remember, beta is not a static number. It always changes depending on the period you use or you are using to estimate it. So if you have a beta, estimated from January last year to January this year, it will be different from what you will have when you estimate from February, March of last year to December. So it varies depending as the stock values changes and the market risk changes, beta also changes. So it is not set on stone. Okay. Now, estimating beta of a stock using Excel. How do we do that? Okay, good. Look at the basic steps. First of all, you download the closing prices of the stock in Yahoo Finance. Now, I always recommend that you use the adjusted closing prices. Why? You have to use because if you adjust if you're using adjusted closing prices, they have already taken into account the stock dividends and the stock split value. So you don't have to worry about that, about the dividend or stock split. So all you have to do is to calculate the return without worrying about the dividends or stock split. Now, step 2 is to download the closing prices of S&P 500 or any of the market index you are using. Again, use the adjusted closing prices. Then, using those data, calculate the return for the stock and for the market index. Then after that, you calculate the beta using this formula. Using the slope formula in Excel, which is slope, known y's and known x. In this case, the known y's are the stock, okay, and the known x are the index. In other words, known y's are the return on that stock of interest, and known x are the return on the market index. So that slope, which is the result, gives you the beta of the stock. Okay. So and to calculate the return of those stock after you have downloaded their stock prices, you use this formula here. P-end minus P-start plus dividend, but dividend, you're not worried about it anymore because you're using the adjusted closing prices. Stock price at the beginning is P-start, and stock price at the end is P-end divided by stock price at the end, so at the start. Okay. Now let's try this application. I believe that theory is practice. If you cannot get it, practice it, then the theory is almost like it is null and void. Yeah. So let's apply these steps to real life situation. I like to use real life. Now I have already downloaded. It says the question here says calculate the beta of Procter & Gamble company using the Excel method. Use closing prices from January 2022 to January 2023. So I use monthly prices, stock prices. I mean, you can use weekly stock prices. The difference, they're gonna be a slight difference in the answer, but because it's weekly price. But monthly price is one I usually use because it averages everything and give you I'm more comfortable using monthly price. Some people like to use daily prices, but to me, daily price is so noisy, you know. Now, I have downloaded the adjusted closing prices for Procter & Gamble for the period mentioned. I downloaded them on this day, which is January 16th, yesterday. So, and I have it here for you in Excel. And based on what you can see the closing prices for Procter and Gamble, and okay, let me make this bigger so you can see it. Procter and Gamble, and of course the market index. Okay, I just take close. Now I'm going to calculate the return then. Okay, return. Okay, Procter and Gambling. Sorry, Procter and Gamble. Remember, Procter and Gamble is a, uh, a very big store, a very big store, just like Walmart. Return Procter and Gambling. Let me use this return Procter and Gamble. Then I'm going to do return for S&P 500. S&P 500, which is the market index for me. So let me calculate the return. Remember, the return is ending price. Let me do the return for Procter and Gamble first. Equals, make sure I've seen this first. Okay. Remember, before you do any calculation, put any formula in Excel, the cell of an Excel, put equal sign. So endings, I'm gonna use this is the March of last year, and this is February of last year. So I'm gonna use March of last year as the ending stock price for Procter and Gamble minus the beginning stock price. I'm gonna use February of last year, close the parentheses, divided by the beginning stock price again. Then I press enter key. By giving the return, and I'll extend this thing the same to S&P 500, so that's one good thing about Excel. When you do one calculation, you can just copy it to the next line to do the same calculation for the other variable. So putting it here, I'm going to drag it here. So it calculated the same return for S&P 500. Then I'll drag it down. Say calculate all the returns. Now we cannot have the return for February. If you look at this, January of this year, because we don't have February of this year data yet. So I'm gonna remove this section. Okay. So we can't have this because we don't have. See, if you look at it, you can see that they are the same on both sides. So we cannot have to calculate the return for this February, for this January, since we don't have February 2023 data yet. Okay. Now these are returns. Remember, after I'm going to change it to percent, this should be percent, but they're still in decimal form. So now it is time to calculate the beta of this. Okay. Beta of Procter and Gamble. Okay, I'm going to put this way. Procter and Gamble beta. Okay. Now make it a little bit big so we can see it. Okay. The beta will now become equals. Remember, and let me refresh your memory with the formula. Formula is equal slope, known y's and known x. Known y's are the return of for Procter and Gamble, and known x return for the markets. So we can put it that way. We can have slope. Okay. So for the known y's, you're gonna use a return for Procter and Gamble. Okay. Comma. Known x, come for this. Then close parentheses and press the enter key. That gives us a beta of 2.253. So I'm gonna change these returns to percent. Okay, format cells and change them to percentage. with 2 decimal, see? So that gives us beta. Beta is 0.25 approximately. Let me make it 2 decimal place. It's just number. Approximately 0.25. Very late, very the risk is so low. I'm going to highlight it so you can see it. 0.25 as a beta for Procter & Gamble. So I'm going to take you to this place and put the beta value, 0.25. Here. So that's beta, which is the beta. Beta for Procter & Gamble. Okay. Okay. Now, I've shown you how to calculate beta using a formula method and Excel method. Now, I'm going to show you next thing, which is let's solve one more question here. It says you have observed the following return over time for these two stocks, stock A and stock B, between the time of 2019 to 2013. Stock A have all this return, stock B have all this return. At that time, markets have this return. The equation says here, assume that the risk-free rate is 6% and market risk is 5%. What are the betas for the stock A and B? What are the return rates of, what are the required rate of return for stock A and B? What is the required rate of return on a portfolio consisting of 80% of stock A and 20% of stock B? To answer these questions, we need to enter these values into Excel. Okay. Enter them into Excel, and then we can now be able to answer this question. So let me take you to as to where I can enter these values. Okay. So I'll be using a I'm entering the returns here. I'll enter them as decimal numbers. Okay. 14% now becomes 0.14. You can see stock A and stock B. Make sure you're seeing all this. Yeah. Okay. And 90% is 0.19. Okay. The other one is negative 0.16. And then, of course, 2012, have 3% is 0.03. I wrote it on paper here, so that's why I'm typing in the numbers. The other one is 20%, which is 0.20. Okay. Now for stock B, I have 13.6, 13% is 0.13. 7% is 0.07. Negative 5% is negative 0.05. 1% is 0.01. Okay, as a decimal, it made the calculation, it simplified the calculations. That's why I'm putting it in decimal form. After I can change them back to percent. 11% is 0.11. Now for the market, we have 12%. Okay. We have 10%. 10. We got negative 12%. And then, excuse me, 0.12. They have see 1%, 0.01. Okay. Then 15%, 0.15. Now I can check these numbers, make sure everything is good. Okay, I think everything is good. Now we'll be able to answer the questions. Okay. The first question says, it says if the risk-free rate is 6% and the risk premium is 5%, what are the betas for stock A and B? Okay. And what are the required rate of return for stock? So we're going to use this risk-free rates and premium to calculate the required rate of return. But for this beta of stock A and B, we only need the return. Okay. Okay, let's do it. Let's find the betas for these two stock. For A, the beta equals slope. Excuse me. Okay, I have known y is that stock A, comma, then no S will be for the market. Close it, and then press the enter key. Okay, now the beta for stock B equals slope. Okay, known y is stock P, comma, and known X is market. So if you round these two numbers, the answer's up. It gives you if you format it, give because beta is number, so keep it off 1.35 and 0.65. 1.35 for stock A and 0.65 for stock B, respectively. And you can see it on these calculations that I did here. You can see them here, 1.35 and 0.65. Okay. All right. See, that's very easy, right? The second question says, what are the required rate of return for stock A and B? Now, we are told that the risk-free rate is 6% and the market risk premium is 5%. So we're going to use this formula for the capital asset pricing model. Remember, this is the whole of this parenthesis, the whole of everything in this parenthesis constitute the market risk premium, which is 5%. And the risk-free rate is 6%. So I have it in Excel here. The risk-free rate is 6%, market premium is 5%. So the required rate of return for the two stocks, we calculate it using this formula here. RJ equals to RF plus beta RM minus RF. So, but this part, all of this part is given to us already as 0.05%, which is the market premium. So now we have equal RF is from here for stock A, plus okay, in parentheses we have beta. We have the beta right here for stock A. Okay, times. Okay, we have risk-free rate. The market premium, I mean to say, which is 0.05. Beta times 0.05. Okay, which is over here. And close it. And that gives us the required return. Let me see if it will give us the similar answer here. Even calculate it. So we have to repeat it again here. Equals risk-free rate of 6% plus, okay, I have beta of 0.65 times market premium. Then press the enter key. So you give out these values, which are returns. I'm not going to change it to percent. You can also change it to percent by clicking on the percent symbol at the top here. 13%, make it 2 decimal places. This one is stock return. This required rate of return for stock A is 12.74%. But for stock B is 9.25%. And you can also see these calculations done here in the PowerPoint. You can see them here. Okay. Now, yes, I believe you're having fun as well. These things are easy if you just set your mind to them. Last question on that section says, what is the required rate of return on a portfolio consisting of 80% of stock A and 20% of stock B? Now, to do that, use this formula here. Return on the portfolio is sum of this symbol here that looks like a monster. It means the sum of the weight of the stock times the required return on that stock. So going there, we have it here. I have 80% for stock A and 20% for stock B. So the required rate of return now become equals sum of, so you have to wait. If you look at the formula, it said, excuse me, let me refer you to it again. You can see the weight of that stock times the required return on that stock. Okay, good. So we have equals weight, which is, well, I didn't, it's weight. Oh, I gotta put it in parentheses because there are two of them. So weight times the required return, okay, plus for the first stock. Second stock is, as a matter of fact, once you do this one, you copy the formula to this, and it will give you the required return. So, and that will be, make it to the smart place. The A will be, portfolio return will be 10.19%, and B will be 1.85%. You can also see it here. Matter of fact, I think I screwed up there. So we don't need this one here. We don't need to do it separate for this one. So this is a portfolio. The portfolio consists of these two stocks. So we can do everything in one cell. Okay. It's equal weight of this times the return on that. Then plus for the second stock, because it's a sum, we have the weight of this times the return on that, which is 9.2%. And that, then when we press the enter key to give us the return on that portfolio, 12.04%, which you can also see from here. 12.04%. To go down, see 12.04%. Well, I wrote 12.05%. This is just a typo. And this concludes our lecture on estimating the beta of a stock. I hope you enjoyed my lecture tonight. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in my next lecture. Bye-bye.